Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this evening on our So Connected chat this Thursday. My name is John Keene. I'm the chorus master and head of music staff at Seattle Opera. We'd like to thank all the Seattle Opera donors and subscribers who are joining us. We couldn't do opera in Seattle without you, so thank you very much for your support all year. If you have a question that occurs to you while we're talking this evening, there's a Q&A at the bottom of your screen. If you click that, you can write a question and we'll try to sneak it into our conversation as we move along. You all know that our guests this evening are the dazzling, brilliant Costa-Jackson Sisters who are joining us from all across the country. We're all isolating in our homes during this challenging time. I'm in Seattle, but I think, Ginger, you win the award for being the furthest flung away. Ginger Costa-Jackson is in Florida. In Utah, we've got Miriam Costa-Jackson joining us, and in New Mexico is Marina Costa-Jackson. So the miracle of modern technology allows us to all be together on one screen, and sort of reunited this evening because we had the great pleasure of doing a concert together on the Macaw stage last fall, which we'll talk about a little bit in a minute. I thought maybe we could start tonight by talking about the fact that I think it's so interesting that three sisters from the same family find their way into classical singing and forging brilliant careers independently, and really rather conveniently have three distinctive voice types that allow you to sing in concert, in duet, trio, harmonizing. Even operatically, you can perform roles in the same opera with each other. So I thought maybe if we could just spend a little time talking about, from each of you, your own voice, your own repertoire, and what makes that distinctive from your sisters. Marina, let's start with you.
Sure. So I think the running joke, probably everyone has heard it, is God took care of jealousy, because I am a lyric spinto soprano, and Miriam, what are you?
I'm a coloratura soprano. So
pretty.
And I'm the mezzo. And as we were growing up, actually, we shared a bedroom, and we often put plays on for our family, from our mom and dad. Hi, Mom and Dad. They're probably watching.
Oh, good.
And so, ironically, as the mezzo, I would often be able to play pants roles on stage. And as it would have it, when we were making these little plays, I would play the boy, and also if we were doing like ballroom dancing, I would play the boy part, and the girls would
fight over her. Yeah, like she was our prince,
So you had that mezzo thing worked out from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Miriam and Marina, as both sopranos, tell us a little bit about the difference between your voices.
Well, I like to sing very high. I'm happiest in the high voice, and
Sure.
Marina's, her middle voice is just really rich and lush and very strong, actually. So it's, I don't know, like my characters would be a little bit more demure and fairies.
The ingenue.
And
young.
The Toscas, the women that, kill people.
The diva.
Yeah, exactly.
She had her voice very strong.
Here's a question from one of our viewers that has to do with this. Skip is asking, how high above the staff can you sing a word that can be clearly understood as opposed to just a sound?
I don't know. Define clear.
That's an opinion, yeah.
I enunciate pretty well on a high C. Probably could a high D, but headed towards like the F or the G. The Queen of the Night stuff. It's mainly just whistle tones.
Right, a vowel.
And let it come out.
Right.
And I think that's where the difference is because for me, mine would be much lower than that. I'm thinking just more open vowels, even around an A natural. I mean, I can say words on an A natural, but they're not gonna be pretty words, You just want to keep that area of the voice as open as possible, where she can keep it open for much higher.
Sure.
And can make actual words more clear. I have to keep it open and
Yeah.
and let it just ring. So.
And Ginger, as the mezzo.
And the sounds that only dogs can hear. That's tones.
Ginger, what would you say for the mezzo voice would be the highest intelligibly clear diction?
Clear diction. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what, well, for me, I think I have like a high C, high D, but
Yeah.
it's just going to sound different with the 3 different colors. So we have some of the same, of course, notes, but it's like a Neapolitan ice cream. Do you want vanilla? Do you want strawberry? Do you want chocolate?
Yes,
You know?
Which makes it phenomenal when you program your concerts, right? Because there's such a variety of color and variety of even technique that's happening on the stage at the same time. Yet you're, family, and you have a sort of natural bond stylistically, and so you can really connect with each other in a way that maybe is different for some other colleagues. Here's another question from one of our viewers. Casey is asking if you've all 3 appeared in an opera together. I know that you have appeared as in pairs, but have all 3 of you appeared on stage together in an opera?
We've only done concerts thus far.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's mainly just been pairings of 2.
Right.
Because Maria and I attended college together for a little bit, so we did a lot more of that in those way back then, right?
Okay.
And then Ginger and I just did Cenerentola, and then they've done, we
did Così at Seattle, and Così is the first, I think, opera house that's had us all 3 on their stage together.
Yes.
But definitely, Casey, we're putting it out into the universe. We
want to see
it. We want
3.
that.
Yeah, all 3. That is yet to happen on stage, and the Così fan tutte would be great. Le Nozze di Figaro, Le Conte of Man, Rosenkavalier, Don Giovanni. So,
or maybe a new piece that somebody would write for these 3 specific voices.
Maybe John might write it.
Oh, I wish you a more talented composer. I wish you were more talented composer. Let's talk a little bit about performing together. Obviously, you have 3 independent, brilliant careers, and you travel all over the world to sing with other colleagues. But what's different when you are working together with family? I'm thinking of not just what it's like to be on stage, but also maybe the rehearsal process and the fact that you're spending several weeks together that you normally wouldn't be together. You'd be working in separate places. Talk a little bit about what that is for you guys.
I'll just take the lead there.
Go for it.
I love it. I know being on stage, I know that they have my back always. And I feel like there's always, there's kind of like this sense that I don't get with my other colleagues, although I love them so much, that if I forget a note, like I know somebody will be there knowing, because they know like, oh yeah, Miriam always,
Yep.
She'll forget a note here, so
we know the panic cue, the panic cue.
Yeah, they know like once
the hop right in there
a little bit, they know I'm out, but so they always have my back, or they're on the sidelines and like, okay, I know this aria was picking her out earlier, like, and it's a genuine, I want you to succeed. Mm-hmm. And I feel like other colleagues absolutely do that, but our family was always brought up to think your success is my own.
Yeah.
And I don't know how God or maybe my parents took care of just us not feeling that jealousy and just that genuine want for everyone to do their very best. So that's fun, but we definitely do have some drama, and that you've also probably seen on
what
dresses are we going to pick out? No, I don't like this. I don't like that. We are 3 very different people, just like our voices.
Yes.
So, sometimes strawberry doesn't mesh with chocolate, or so I'm just saying, it gets a little Kardashian-y sometimes.
Yeah. But it's got to be fantastic to know that you've got someone's got your back in that way on stage.
Yeah. Marina, or you go first, Marina.
Okay, I'll go first. I have to say too, for me, my debut with Ginger on stage was in Così. Mm-hmm. And it was my debut for Seattle, and it was a big debut for me, my first A-level beautiful house to sing in.
Yeah.
And I have to say, walking out there and playing my sister's sister, you know, and holding her hand and being able to just connect with someone who's my blood, who's literally standing by me. It's like, you know, like kids, if you're in church or if they're giving like some sort of speech and you kind of stand by them and whisper what they should be saying in their ear. Like I almost felt like I had my own little personal in blood family member there, which I did, you know, literally, who just kind of gave me that calm aspect. She's such a stage animal, and she has such a calming aura about her when she's on stage, because she just knows what she's doing. So it really helped me. And I think that's something most performers don't get. Sometimes I feel alone on stage, but with my sisters, I mean, I can't feel alone, you know?
Yeah.
And I'll say really quickly, so that we can get on to another question, but I've been on stage with Miriam, she was my Micaela, and Marina and I have been able to do a La Boheme together, and singing Musetta to her, Mimi, in the fourth act, when it's already such a touching piece and moving piece and breaks your heart to see Mimi die, but when it's your own sister, it's very difficult, you know. You're holding back tears and you're like, I still have one more thing to sing, and you're watching especially with such a beautiful performer like Marina is, and the acting that she gives, and so yeah, it's definitely a different level when it's family. And then with Miriam, I would say that she was my Micaela, so we didn't have a lot of interaction. Well, we did for Cinderella, she played my sister as well, but I wanted to talk about her Micaela in Act 3. It was so funny because, you know, we didn't have a lot of encounters, but we had to like stare each other down in Act 3. And it was so difficult not to, because I love her. She's my blood, you know, and to have to fight over the tenor. It's like, what's the tenor? You're my sister, but you know. So it's definitely a different aspect, you know, that alternate reality when you hit the stage versus you go off stage and you're high-fiving the Micaela as the Carmen, you know.
Yeah. I have to say, for myself, performing with you last fall, it was something I didn't give one thought to ahead of time, but I really noticed once we were together in the performance on stage, the energy of the three of you together and the way that sort of nonverbal connection, you know, we all have a musical connection and we all expect that, but I just was really amazed by the intensity of that connection. It's a really amazing, and I think really beautiful thing that many performers don't get to experience because they don't have family that they can perform with.
And we were privileged to have you too, the fourth Costa-Jackson, so on stage with us.
For one night, I was Giovanni Costa-Jackson.
One night only.
Our new general director, Christina Scheppelmann, gave me a question that she wanted to ask, which is if you might speak a little bit about your Sicilian heritage and how that has kind of formed you, and maybe how that feels now as you work in this business professionally. What does that give you in terms of performing? I know, of course, you sing a really big variety of repertoire, and not all of it is Italian, but much of it is. So speak a little bit about that, growing up with that background.
Well, Mama being Sicilian, and we always had opera in the house, and she always sang around the house. And on Saturdays when we would clean up, she would always play the three tenors, and so we would be cleaning to, you know, opera, and she would say, pick up the tempo, you know, as we're cleaning, da, 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 da. And you know, it's just, music is so much part of, you know, for Italians it's all about family and food, music, and you know, especially Sicilians. So
well, and it's just like the food, it's very flavorful. I mean, my husband and I, a couple years back, we went to visit family, just because, you know, my American husband needs to finally meet my Sicilian family. And even then, we were all together and we pulled out a guitar and we all started singing the songs of the country, like that there, the Neapolitan song, just those songs that make your heart burst out. And not one person was mumbling, like some people do in some parts of the country, you know, but singing out nice and loud, using those voices that carry throughout the balcony. So
yeah. How Italian do you feel?
Sometimes more than others, I think.
Oh.
I think my husband will say when I'm angry, I'm the most Italian. But I think, yeah, sometimes more than others. But I think when it comes to opera specifically, into music, it's so, I mean, the birth house of opera, right? So, so it's almost feels like it's completely ingrained in it. And I'm very grateful for our mother and our father who insisted that Italian was our first language, because we're not spending time translating. We're just speaking the language that we were brought up speaking. So.
Yes. What a gift. What a wonderful thing. Here's a question from Arendar Hakopian. For those of you who are joining us on the call, Arendar Hakopian is our wonderful director of artistic administration and planning. He does all of the casting at Seattle Opera, and has been a huge supporter and fan of the Costa-Jacksons. And he asked me to ask you about auditions. Maybe your best audition experience memory, and frankly, also the worst.
Well, we don't
You
like
can
to remember
choose one.
We block those out.
Yes.
I will talk about the best one, actually.
Okay.
And Ginger was there for it. We were in Russia doing a musical exchange program, and we decided while we were there to go ahead and audition for Novoya Opera, which is in Moscow. And we were in this large audition room. The music had started. At the time, I'd always start with Morroma prima in grazia from Un ballo in maschera. And the music starts, it's playing, and all of a sudden we hear a loud knock. The door opens, the light beams through, and in walks a man with brilliant white hair. And for a second, I'm like, am I dreaming? No. It was the late, great Dmitry Hovrodovsky. And he had come in at the invitation of Maestro Constantino Berlian, who traveled the world with him, doing concerts and did CDs with him and all of that, and to hear us sisters. And he came in, and here was the foremost Renato, that I was about to sing my Roma prima in grazia to, and it was the most amazing experience to be in the presence of such a wonderful artist, and to sing that to him, and to have him actually enjoy both of our, Ginger got up and sang as well and enjoy our singing, which led to him inviting us back the next year. He was gracious enough to invite us for Hovrodovsky in France, and we had the amazing opportunity to interact and share the stage with this artist.
That's just fantastic.
And you sang the Moro in that concert. So
yes, I did.
Yeah.
And he sang the Eri tu.
Yeah. Wow, that's really fantastic. Any other memories that stick out in terms of auditions?
So I try to forget, right? I usually in tears anyway, because we're all perfectionists,
Right.
Artists are. But I remember in high school, this is way back, right? I had just barely come back from Italy. We had been studying opera in the Italian Conservatory. And I was like, I'm going to get the lead in the high school musical. They were auditioning for Dolly. Dolly.
Hello, Dolly.
I sang Before the Parade Passes By. And before the parade passes by, I interpolated like 3 notes. It was so bad.
You know how you just take one high note at the end? She took I was there. She took like 4. Like she did it like 3 octave jumps. Yeah. And I was like, after the second one, I was like, please don't go out for the third. She went out for the third. She did.
Nothing held me back. I was like, I'm going to show where my voice.
She was showing them.
Anyway,
she was.
I still, when I read my diary from those days, just that cringy, slide, like my center on anyway.
Yeah, that's pretty bad news.
I know, but luckily it wasn't anything like professional, but.
So here's kind of a related question from one of our listeners who wants to know about a time something went terribly, terribly wrong on stage, and how did you handle it?
Where to start?
Choose one.
Well, I have one.
Go.
There's always like when you forget words that, oh, that's the worst, when you're just suddenly you're like this. And luckily if I'm singing with my sisters, like Miriam will just hop in, like she'll see the cue and it'll like go out to her, you know, the vibes will go out and suddenly she'll just, oh, I just need you to come in and save you on that. But I would say the worst thing that has happened to me on stage was Carmen, Act 2, when Don Jose is about to sing the flower aria and he's going to throw Carmen down, you know, tu m'attendras, and he throws me down. Well, this skirt that I had only had one clasp, and I don't know how it happened, but the way he threw me down, oh, sorry, I just accidentally clicked out of the Zoom call. Can you guys still see me?
I know, but
No,
We
we
can
can't
hear
hear
you.
All right, then you can hear me. Then it'll
We lost
make
your
it
video.
it'll make it even more dramatic. So when
Oh, there you are.
You're
when he
back.
threw me down, the skirt
And you went black. And it went black.
completely unclasped. And for a minute, I just
Ah.
thought that it just unclasped, right? But the clasp broke. So here, this guy's singing Flower Aria, and I'm in the chair. This was over in Opera Grand Rapids. And it's open in the back. And I'm spending the whole, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, you know, and I'm trying to like not make it look super evident. It was undone. And so I'm whispering to him when he does, like, my skirt is broken. My skirt is broken. He's like, what? And so then I spend the entire Act 2 like this with my bunched up skirt just to finish the scene.
Just dropped it. Just dropped it.
I was not gonna drop my skirt. I mean, there was no underskirt. That would have been a completely different show.
In that case.
At least my castagnettes were done, so I didn't need, just one hand, all hands, just one, right?
Well, luckily, opera, generally speaking, is really simple and not challenging at all. So it's nice when these little surprises pop up to make it interesting.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about this situation that we're all facing, this challenging time we're in. We're all isolating separately. What are some things that you're doing right now in isolation in terms of your careers, practicing, preparing new roles or music that is different or that you've come up with, and maybe how technology perhaps is helping that in terms of staying connected to people? What comes to mind with that?
You can go ahead, Miriam.
Okay, I'll go. Well, my husband was like, "You're depressed. Like, let's get you a ukulele." Because I mean, I think most of us feel a little bit depressed.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I definitely am because music is my outlet. I have 2 beautiful children that I have the honor of taking care of. But it does get a little bit heavy, especially quarantine and then having to teach them.
Yeah.
You know, be the teacher as well. Which I love you, Jensen. Thank you. I miss you. It's so he was like, let me get you a ukulele. You can start playing whatever you want, on it. And so it's been fun for me as an artist to really just play what I desire that day. Okay, today I'm gonna play a Beatles song. Today I'm gonna sing. I'm even working on some Mozart on the ukulele. And to share, I think this is a great opportunity as opera singers. I know it gets maybe tiring to see our colleagues keep posting things. Maybe some people feel that way about even my stuff. But it's a great time to make our art more accessible. So because we're not mainstream, we don't have like the mainstream music going on all the time that you can just grab a guitar and play to. It's good to now see more operatic things come across my feed. And hopefully that'll re-engage for our opera houses when they open up. Anyway, don't know if that made sense.
You made sense.
Long story short, that's what I've done.
Excellent.
I mean, I'm working on, you touched on it a little bit, I'm working on just new music. I mean, I think Ginger can agree to this, and Miriam, and most opera singers out there can agree. This is a time that is actually, we have time to slow down and really practice our craft in a more technical, thought out way. When you're in the middle of a career traveling here and there, you're not really getting as much of a chance. You're kind of just getting by to the next gig and working on a specific opera that needs to be presented tomorrow, you know?
Yes.
And so this is really a time that I feel like I've been able to work on technique, to work on pieces that I would have loved to have worked on 2 or 3 years ago, but I haven't had a chance to do.
Yes.
And then as far as how technology plays into that, I mean, my sisters can attest to receiving a whole bunch of audios of me singing, what do you think about this aria in my voice? Like, what do you think about this role? And as far as technology, it plays in that way. But yeah, and I think it's really cool how everyone's doing all these, the Met when they did their broadcast. Like I like what Miriam said about, you know, there's no more these heavy red curtains in order to have to open in order for you to be able to witness an artist. It's sometimes nice to be able to see them in their own habitat and see what naturally happens when singing instead of what happens on a stage, you know.
Yes.
What really happens, what we really work on as artists. So
yes, I think it's a real silver lining of this time.
Yes.
That none of us would choose, but one has to find the positive where you can, and that's one of the things that's really, I think, a sort of a gift to all of us, that we can find that in it. And I agree with you completely about slowing down. And I also I don't sing. Everybody just say a nice word of thanks.
But you play beautifully the piano.
But I'm so grateful also for the time to do some score study and to do some preparation with a depth and at a pace which makes kind of human sense, as opposed to what we're usually doing, which is cramming and trying to stay ahead, one day ahead of the calendar, maybe 2 days if we're really lucky. Ginger, what are you doing in isolation? Are you singing every day? Are you keeping the voice going, or do you find resting is better?
So my sisters actually have a nickname that's for me, Marina, because I never shut up. So
well, we call it Ginger FM. So if you even like start a note of a song, she isn't going to know the rest of the song, all the words, the whole everything, and she will proceed to sing it.
Yeah, it doesn't
more than
stop
once.
after like 2 seconds. It continues.
It continues.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful, but it keeps going, you know?
Yeah. Like, heaven forbid you yawn in A minor. Then she's like,
yeah.
So yes, I'm singing a lot, and you know, trying to always collaborate with my sisters. Now that we have this distance, you know, there are some ways to try to sing together, like an a cappella app, where you can try to at least, you know, get together with people that of course there's this distance, so we can't get together and practice, but the beauty is that we can, through technology, come together from all parts of the world to make music and to continue to exist as a group, because this opera is a team sport. Absolutely. It's not a solo sport. And
Absolutely.
We are alone in our isolation, but we're together making this music. Now we have the luxury of technology, but there's also now us all having this steep learning curve of how to use it.
Yes.
Because now as with opera singing, our beautiful iPhones or whatever we have phones, they're not adapted for our full blast of our vocal cords.
That's right.
And so you're having to sing very softly into the mic, you know, and it's just a different territory. And so it's exciting
through our technique, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's exciting, but it's also, okay, now I'm like typing up, okay, what kind of mic? If anyone has suggestions for microphones.
Right. It is a learning curve for sure. Here's another question I think is a little bit related to this. What would you say to a young person who is interested in pursuing this career? What about advice for singers starting out? And it's interesting at this moment in time because it feels like this career can be fragile or can be tricky, but always there are gifted young people who have the same energy that you did when you were that age, who got the bug musically and vocally, and of course they have to pursue that and have to. So what do you think? What about a few words to a young singer?
I think that now is the best time to be innovative and to adapt. I think it's the best for all of us, but we're all old fogies when it comes to opera. Like, we know we want it the way it was. Mm-hmm. It's your opportunity now to do something new and to make it bigger and better than what it was. and hopefully reach a wider demographic.
Mhm.
I think that it's time for opera to be a little bit more widespread, and anything you can do, because have that love in your heart, but you guys are smart. I think if we all thought and came together, we can make this amazing and even more amazing than it's ever been.
And I would also add that right now you have a lot of wonderful singers who have years of training who are free, and take advantage of this time to have master classes, to reach out and get those lessons in, and continue to study and to grow. And I'm sure like I've done some classes too, like I'm sure people are happy to work with you, and as this is also a financially difficult time, but as singers we live to sing, but we also want to nurture and to help grow, and so this is a time for that and to give back.
And I'll add too, there was a time before I got into the Academy of Vocal Arts, for example, and I wasn't really affiliated, before I was affiliated with any sort of university. And I was at home a lot, kind of like now, where I really just took the opportunity. Please go on Amazon. I mean, I'm not trying to, Seattle Opera, Amazon, kind of the same place, same thing. So I'm kind of publicizing it, but go wherever and buy a score and dig deep into that score. That's what I did. I spent a year and a half sitting at home with no voice teacher, no coach, and not the ability to do anything like that socially. And I just study, and really just do what we're doing, and get to know your voice even better, because you're your best voice teacher in a way, just by knowing what you can do and giving yourself the time and opportunity to do that with yourself. Study.
Fantastic, really fantastic. Okay, so we're coming towards the end of our time, and I thought maybe we would sort of try a lightning round of questions. I'm going to throw out a topic, and you can give me, all three of you can give me a one-word or short one-sentence answer. Here's the first one. It's a little bit connected to what we were just talking about. Tell us one thing that you have time to do right now in isolation that you wouldn't normally have time to do, that you're enjoying.
Drawing.
Drawing? Awesome. I'm going to buy some frames. Say again, Miriam?
Play Legos with my kids.
Ah, Legos, my favorite. Marina?
I get all the free time with my husband that I want.
So there's two happy people there. Okay, this is also a little bit related to that. What music are you listening to right now? Doesn't have to be classical necessarily.
Queen.
Queen.
Everything, but Mario Lanza this morning. Love Mario Lanza.
Beautiful voice.
For me, I was listening to Macbeth. Earlier today.
Yes. I like the comedies too.
Of course, the drama.
Yes. Tell us your favorite role to perform.
Carmen.
Carmen.
I haven't yet done it, but I think a Gilda would be.
Yes. Great role.
I'm waiting for a Butterfly. I loved Tatiana that I just did in Seattle, but Butterfly, that's my favorite opera bar none, and I can't wait to play her.
Masterpiece. A little bit related, slightly different. Favorite piece or role, if you want to go operatic, to perform with your sisters?
Any Italian folk tune. I feel like it just resonates.
It's just you guys. Yeah.
And musical theater. My dad, we failed to mention this, but my dad, he was in a barbershop quartet, and we had all the great American musicals from the golden age, like always playing in the home as well. So anything like that, we all can sing with one another, and it's fun.
Yeah, fantastic.
O Sole Mio. I like that, because then I don't know. I just like that, the three of us together. Miriam gets to show off her high notes, Marina gets to show off middle range, and I'm on the bottom.
Yes, the depth.
Yes.
Okay, none of us can travel right now, and we're all isolating at home. But if we could, tell me your dream vacation spots.
Michael and I were supposed to go to Norway this summer, so.
You'll get there. You'll still get there.
Yes.
I want to go somewhere islandy, like Bora Bora or Maldives or something like that.
Okay.
I'll join you there, Tahiti, but my favorite place that I love to visit is Molokai in Hawaii.
Awesome. Okay. Isolation might color this a little bit, but tell us your favorite comfort food.
Oh, all the foods.
Yeah.
Anything that's DoorDashable at this point, you know. Pizza though, probably.
Pizza.
Chocolate baked goods, you know. And I feel like everyone's baking anyways nowadays, right? So
Yes.
you guys know what I'm talking about.
I'll have to go with just like mashed potatoes. I'm a little boring, but
No.
That's yummy.
That's real comfort. Favorite movie?
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I feel like
What?
I'm always down to watch that, you know, always.
Okay.
Princess Bride.
Oh, that is a good one. I mean, those ones are good. I'm not really a movie person. My husband gets so frustrated because it's like 5 minutes into the movie, I'm like I'm sleeping. So that's not a question.
Introduction.
Okay. You guys are so adorable and so wonderful. Wonderful artists, wonderful performers, stage animals, concert artists, but also just wonderful people. And thank you for doing this for us and for joining me tonight. It's great to see you, even if it's on a screen only. It's still great to be connected to you guys. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Seattle.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, Seattle. Love, we miss you guys dearly.
Hope to see you soon at the Opera House.
Exactly so. I agree. So everyone listening, please join us next week. Next Thursday at the exact same time will be the start of our summer recital series, Songs of Summer. And the first artist is Angel Blue, a soprano that's very well known to Seattle audiences. She'll be performing a recital with our wonderful coach accompanist, my colleague Jay Rosendahl. So join us next Thursday at the same time. Thank you all for joining us tonight.
Thank you, John.
You're very welcome. It's been a great joy. Please be safe.
Everyone stay well, yes.
Stay safe and healthy, and wash your hands. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.